This used to be Paul Kruger's house at the time. And Kgosi Mokgatle lived somewhere over there. And together they would sit here and drink mampur and discuss events cordial to the two of them. Again, this was testimony to Kgosi Mokgatle's diplomacy. For Paul Kruger was known for his disdain and harsh treatment of African people. Kgosi Mokgatle secured good relations with the Boer farmers. He provided labor for their farms, and he also provided battalions of men that helped the Boers in their skirmishes against the British, the Ndebele, and Sekhukhune. And this diplomacy was not just limited to Paul Kruger and the Boers, for Kgosi Mokgatle had already established a relationship with another group who would have a lasting effect on the Bafokeng. In the 1800s, Kgosi Mokgatle spent some time in Lesotho with Kgosi Moshweshwe, and he was very impressed by what the missionaries did with education in that part of the world. So he decided to accept missionaries into the Bafokeng territories. The first mission station was started here at Saron in 1867 by the Lutheran missionary Christoph Penson. Kgosi Mokgatle was much more interested in the benefits of Western education and new technologies than in converting to Christianity. To this day, the majority of us and the royal family are Lutheran Protestants. Christoph Penson's son, Ernst, later succeeded his father as missionary to the Bafokeng, and their descendants still live in the area today. Do you think it was an easy job for them to convert Bafokeng at the time into Christians?
Not so easy, but he was lucky that he got on very well with King Mokgatle. Every second day they would visit each other and talk to each other and give another advice. At first, the wives of King Mokgatle and the children were taught the gospel and they were baptized. Even King Mokgatle, shortly before he died, was baptized here.
Now, whilst Pensons were good friends with the Bafokeng, conversion into Christianity demanded that people give up a lot of their cultural practices. This included, amongst other things, polygamy, circumcision and initiation ceremonies, and in some instances, assuming Christian names at the expense of Setswana names. So in essence, to become a Christian, a Mofokeng had to give up a sense of his cultural person. The divide between Christians and non-Christians at the time is really evident in the graveyard in Kgale village. On the one side is a corner for Christians, and on the other side, for those who rejected Christianity. Because the Bafokeng are so innovative and modern, there's a feeling that we have lost our traditions. Down the road from my family home lives a woman who still practices a very beautiful tradition.
Ga se setso se santseng se phela a ke nnete
ga se nnete babuki go teng
yana maboko a o ithutana wa rutilwe ke mang rakgadi
nna ke rutilwe ke koko mo ipone pitso koko ene le motho o neng a ithaopa go bereka ka fa tlase ga kgosi Mmanotsi e rile fela ga tsena ba mmoka ka bona ke na le kgatlhego e tona thata ke fa le nna ke mora ke re mma a go nthutetle a ba nthuta a nthuta maboko a magosi a Sefokeng la ga Kgosi Mokgatle le la Kgosi Leruo lona ke le ikwaletse ka ke kgosi ya ga jaanong
o ka re wa ke la leboko la Kgosi Leruo le lengwe la Kgosi Mokgatle
ke nnete ke tla dire jalo kwena tsa madiba o ramolotlegi bo tla di tsola ngwana makgabetsatsi le penne re batho ba ga Mokwena a phokelle tsogile jang a re setlogolo nna ke segagabi sa metsi kwena e mokokotlo o makokoma swaila ka kwa shapa ka mogatla morwa molotlegi.
In the early 1800s, most of the land around Great Rustenburg was registered to poor farmers. The Bafokeng people had been squeezed onto small portions of ancestral land to which they had no legal claim. This made Kgosi Mokgatle very unhappy. He called the Piso to discuss land acquisition for burial and for their children to live on. There was a catch, though. African people could legally not buy or own land. The missionary working in the village at the time, Mr. Christoph Persson, had to act as a nominee for the acquisition of the land. In 1877, battalions of up to 500 men at a time were sent out to the diamond fields and to the neighboring Boer farms to work and bring in money. Over a period of 30 years, enough wealth had been amassed so that by the end of the 1800s, 23 farms had been registered in the name of the Bafokeng. Having title deeds to their land meant whatever happened in the future, the Bafokeng land would be secure. Kgosi Mokgatle died in 1891. To date, the longest-serving Kgosi. He is widely acknowledged as the architect of the Bafokeng's present-day success. His foresight in purchasing the land owned by the Bafokeng today and his ability to read and manage relations with those around him set the Bafokeng on a stable path that would stand them in good stead through some troubled times in the 20th century. Kgosi Augustus Molotlegi, who reigned for 42 years, continued Kgosi Mokgatle's drive to purchase more land. During his reign, 26 more farms were registered in the Bafokeng name. Kgosi after Kgosi guided the Bafokeng through the next 50 years, ensuring Bafokeng rights to the land and also to the mineral wealth under it. Fortunately, visionary leadership has extended right down to the present, where Kgosi Leruo now heads the Bafokeng. He's driving an ambitious developmental mission, Vision 2020, which seeks to diversify the economy, steer away from dependence on platinum, and to embark on a new phase of development. It is a very bold dream that'll give the Bafokeng clean and gracious homes, a world-class integrated sports center, a bustling and attractive urban core, a shopping mall and office towers, campuses of higher learning, an art center, museum, and venue for events. These will all help create a vibrant and healthy community that can go into the future with confidence and pride.
Re batla go itse gore keng se se go rotloetsang go lora gagolo ga kana-kana.
Nna se o dumela gore wa se kgona. Ke ile ka metlha gore bana ba rona especially bana ba banyane bana gore ba itse gore le bone ba ka kgona se se kgonang mo lefatsheng worldwide. Wala ke metshameko ka bo ke dithuto bjalo ka bo ke dikgwebo.
How do you temper people's expectations?
The challenge is to communicate. The challenge is to make people aware that this is, a very long journey. We don't want to be remembered as people who are negligent, people who inherited, a good fortune. So we must take decisions that will ensure that future generations are able to sustain themselves in a continually complex world.